All right, you're on.
It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Kevin Carr.
And this is It's Movie Time. Okay. Now, Kevin,
Yes.
we always try to inform our audience.
Mm.
Let's inform them that the movie we're talking about is Beautiful Boy,
Yeah.
not Boy Erased.
And not Beautiful Boy Erased. Totally different movie. Ironically, coming in March.
Beautiful Boy, starring Steve Carell
Yes.
and Timothy Chalamet,
Yep.
who was from Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah, that most people recognize.
Right.
He showed up in other things. He was like in Lady Bird last year.
That's right.
But yeah, Call Me By Your Name was really kind of what put him on the map.
And Carell is well known from TV as well as many motion pictures.
The Office, and this is one of his first two. He's got two award-bait movies out. Welcome to Merwin comes a little later, but right now we've got Beautiful Boy.
Oh, okay. Well, generally speaking, Beautiful Boy. Kevin, set it up.
Well, it's a true story about a father dealing with the fact that his son is heavily addicted to drugs of all kinds.
Yep.
And it's based on both the father's memoirs and the son's memoirs, but it weighs heavily on the father in his attempt to help him. And it shows the heartache and the struggle and the problems that you have when you want to help, but you aren't getting the cooperation from the addict. And that's the heartbreaking angle for it. Is it puts you in that, what would you do? And it's not like, the whole drug addiction and opioid crisis that's
Yeah, and here in
the
Ohio
country,
for sure.
everywhere. It's not just happening in bad neighborhoods or in depressed areas. It's literally happening down the road from everyone.
Yes.
This guy who's the Carell's character, he's a writer for Rolling Stone. I mean, he's a well-to-do guy. He is not somebody living in a studio apartment paycheck to paycheck.
Well, Kevin, that's one of the things that bothers me about the film.
Yep.
Even for Rolling Stone, how do you make enough money to have the places that they have, particularly the one in the woods in Northern California? It's just, or how does this kid survive? Right?
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's a real story about somebody who does have the funds. But, I mean, I never got the sense in the movie that he wasn't well-to-do, that he didn't have... Maybe he's not a beat writer for Rolling Stone, but he certainly has enough income to be able to do what he does.
And that's not addressed. And from Nick and Dave Sheff's books on this, it's clear that the young man, Nick, survived in part by prostituting himself. This is not in the film.
Okay.
This is not covered in the film, nor are the sources of their funding ever revealed. That's one of the things that I find...
well, his funding is he was a well-known journalist. I mean, he was
I
high
know,
up
but
there.
Kevin, gee, I didn't realize journalism. I didn't realize.
No. Beat journalism doesn't get you there. But he was an editor. He was a well-to-do guy.
All right.
That's I don't think that they. I never got the sense that they were saying he was getting it from illicit means.
No. But I guess that also leads me to my other interest in this film, is that it is about an upper middle class family.
Yeah.
And while that's very nice, there are millions of sufferers from addiction who are from underachieving middle class, working class families.
But I think that's kind of the point of the film.
Well, okay.
I think the point of this film is, even if you have the means and the money and the flexibility and the time, there's a sense of helplessness. You can't help him. You can't help the addict if the addict doesn't want help. And that's the biggest struggle to run into. Too many times in movies, like, you remember the movie Out of the Furnace 3-4 years ago? Grim movie. It takes place up in Appalachian, coal mining country. And so it's really easy to say, oh yeah, meth heads up there, that's easy. It's easy to dismiss that. But here's somebody who, by all means, should not have gone down that path because of socioeconomic reasons, and people don't do it because of that anymore. People are trying to escape just daily pressures.
Kevin, as always, that's an excellent analysis, and you just shot down my theory completely, and I'm very happy because, of course, you are right. It emphasizes what I think to be the central point of the film, the difficulty of overcoming this addiction, because in the film, and part of its repetition, is the relapse, the continual relapse of the kid, the frustrating difficulty that Dad has. And how many of us have done things that maybe aren't related to addiction, but even with our children, we wanted something to happen. We wanted it to be better. And we found it not happening. And we look back and we search, what did we do wrong?
Yeah.
And the film implies that you may not have done anything wrong. In fact, you may have done everything, as Carell's character does, to try to help the kid. And your point being, look at, if the kid doesn't want it, and he tells us at one point in the film how great he feels on the meth, how great it makes him feel.
Yeah.
And that is really tough.
Well, it's very tough to overcome, and the thing that's great. I mean, you may not have in this day and age. Sometimes people can easily dismiss the addiction angle of it. I think they do a really good job of showing this, of wanting to get over the addiction, but maintaining that desire throughout and having the relapse. And they make the point that relapse is part of recovery. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that you've dealt with addiction, how many times have you tried to go on a diet and not made it? Because one day you just didn't want to exercise, or one day you just wanted to eat a Snickers bar, and that's falling off the wagon. Maybe not at the chemical dependency level that meth does, but I think that shows. I think this shows addiction in a light that we normally don't see it.
No, and I agree, and it reminds me of some things that I've learned from the Bible.
Okay.
I'm recently studying some of the Bible.
Yes, Brother John.
Be a surprise to you.
Tell us about it.
No, I'm still an agnostic family. Please don't forget that. But
Preach, brother.
I'm sure interested in this. And Christ in dealing with the scribes and the Pharisees and so on. At some point, he says, I can't deal with these people. Is he going to dust off your sandals and move on?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's gone.
Yeah.
He could have changed things, but he's not going to, because of free will, of course, and just because these people are intransigent. And so he just advises you to move on. It was the greatest piece of advice I've heard recently.
And that's easy to do with. That's easier to do with friends and acquaintances. Very difficult to do with your son.
Oh,
and I think that's the real heartbreak in this, because it's how far they can push, how far an addict can push your help.
Yes.
And how far you're willing to go, and at what point, even in this situation, would you have to let go, or are you forced to let go?
Isn't it? And the film does a terrific job. And the film does a terrific job in that letting it go motif.
Yeah.
I think the film, better than any I've seen in a long time, hits that frustration of dealing with, as you say, with your son.
Yeah.
Who's closer than that?
Yeah.
Your son. And one of the strengths, or some might complain, but one of the strengths are the flashbacks that go back to good times.
Yeah.
Fun times.
But each one has a little thing of, there's always a little shred in each flashback of, what did I do wrong to help cause this?
When they're talking about pot, and they're maybe even smoking,
Yeah.
And it's very lighthearted. And given the current climate, it's not as bad as you might think. But you're right. There's just a little hint. Is Dad enabling in some way or another?
And is this a fond memory, or is this a guilt-ridden memory, or is it both? Is it an inside-out memory where it has all these sticky emotions in there?
Oh my God.
The movie does get a little long, and I would not call it an enjoyable film.
Oh, it is definitely the most depressing movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's rough. But it's very well done, and Carell does a good job. The kid does a good job. Timothée Chalamet does a great job.
Oh, yes.
I think I was unimpressed with him in Call Me By Your Name. I think he's much better in this.
Yes, he is very good in this. So this is, unfortunately, at holiday time, I think people want to be perked up.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to see a solid film,
you want to feel better about yourself after Thanksgiving dinner, and you say, let's go see a family that's worse off.
Right. Kevin Carr, the film is Beautiful Boy. What grade would you award it?
I am going to give it an A-.
All right.
A little ding for a little bit of pacing.
Good. And I will award it a B.
Okay.
And I think then we will have given a very comprehensive view of a holiday film. It's not a pick-me-up.
There's...
All right.